Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves.
Hey, Wonder Maddie here. In case you don't recognize me, I am the host of the weekly live show on Near Mint Condition called Old Reader, New Reader. Have been part of it for like 5 years, where myself and another reader, one of us is the old reader, one of us is the new reader, we review books live for all of you here at Near Mint Condition. And I'm here to talk about my top 10 reads of this year. Now, I'm pretty sure most of these came out this year. Some of them might not have, but they were all read by me in this year. So, in no particular order, although I will leave my favorite one to the end, but the rest are not necessarily ranked. All right, so I definitely have to start this off with Wonder Woman Historia. This is one that I've been excited about for so long that it finally released. Now, as you may have guessed by my internet handle, Wonder Maddie, I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan, so this is a must read for Wonder Woman fans. So on this book, we have a lot of big DC creators, especially Wonder Woman creators. So we've got Kelly Sue DeConnick, Phil Jimenez, Jean Han, Nicholas Scott, a lot of classic creators here, and some of my favorite creators. And this delves in more, so not necessarily Wonder Woman, even though it's Wonder Woman's story, much more into the origins of the Amazons themselves. It's just breathtaking. If you're a Wonder Woman fan, this is a must-have. Part of that is just because of the art, especially, but so much more than that. It reads like, it reads like prose. It reads like a Greek myth. It's gorgeous. I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to ruin any surprises of it, but definitely absolutely pick this up. I think this is a must-have for any DC Comics collector, really. So next one, very different note here, is Girl Juice by Benji Nate. This one is, it's about a group of girls with the main girl, I think her name is Bunny. It's been a bit, very goofy. It feels very like 90s girl power sort of movie where it's just girls hanging out, just a daily slice of life, getting into goofy hijinks. The art is so comical and silly and fun. And the main girl's so ditzy, and everyone has their kind of weird quirks. Like, you have one girl who's really into clowns. I don't know why. This is just a fun read. Like, I laughed the entire time. This is an immediate 5 out of 5 for me. I can't wait to see what else Benji Nate puts together. If you need just a fun book, fun ride, absolutely check out Girl Juice. Such a good time. Getting back into DC with this one. You can't go wrong with Mark Waid and Dan Mora. You just can't. You just can't. Batman, Superman, World's Finest. Finally. So good. I get really tired of some of the mainline DC stuff sometimes because it's hard to keep up to date on all the things that are happening, all the big events, what the timeline is now, which characters are involved now. This book was so great because it takes you out of that, like, continuity. And we get back to the basics. This gets back to the origins of Batman and Superman teaming up. You get away from not necessarily bigger, tougher events, but it just feels like a classic story of these two. It's just fun. It's a good time. You get a lot of, if it's Mark Waid on the book, you know you get a lot of really great character moments. And this made me just so happy. I also really enjoyed, even though I don't think it's collected yet, but World's Finest Teen Titans. That's also really great because you get some classic Teen Titans when they were Teen Titans. So Donna Troy, Robin, Kid Flash, Speedy. It's just wonderful. It's a good offshoot of this too. Just do yourself a favor. Chef's kiss. Perfect. So next one. This one I feel like is very topical. This is a graphic memoir by Laura Gao. So it's called Messy Roots, a graphic memoir of a Wuhanese American. So this is all from Laura Gao's perspective. They started writing sort of, they wrote a smaller comic during like the height of the pandemic about what it was like to be Wuhanese. Like their family is from Wuhan. They've been to Wuhan. And this whole story is really dealing with them tackling what it means to them to be someone who is really torn apart from two different cultures, even though they grew up in Wuhan with their grandmother. But they've also spent most of their life in America, and like what is their identity? What does that mean for them? What should they be reaching out for? And I had the pleasure of actually getting to talk to Laura Gao this year and even watch them do like a live reading of their comic book. And I think there's someone that everyone can really relate to, because they're also a big nerd too. I think this is the kind of story that a lot of people should read, especially coming off of not coming off the pandemic, but what we all went through and what so many Asian Americans went through. If you really want a good feel for what that was like for somebody, especially someone so close to Wuhan, absolutely pick it up. I can't wait to see what else Laura Gao puts together. Really like their work. I love their art. I love the color work. Very good. So it would be pretty weird for me not to have a Junji Ito book on my list for top 10. So here's one. It's a Soichi, the Soichi story collection by Junji Ito. So there's a lot of Junji Ito books that came out this year, most of them anthologies, which I do love, but it is such a treat to get more of a long-going story in a Junji Ito book. Something more like Tomie or Uzumaki. So this all deals with these odd interactions with this young boy, Soichi, and his family, and how he's just a big, creepy weirdo, and you never really know what he's up to. I always call Junji Ito books cozy, and I think that's because even though it is horror, it's not really graphic body horror. There's not a lot of blood. It's all black and white. And it's very silly a lot of times. Like, you never really know what kind of goofy shenanigans Junji Ito is going to put you in. It was great to finally read this, because I read one Soichi story inside of another Junji Ito anthology, but to get more of this was great. So if you like Tomie, if you like Uzumaki, pick up Soichi. You won't be disappointed. So, volume 2 of one of my favorite books, I think last year before, Cosmo Nights. I read this, I think last year. Absolutely loved volume 1. It is what's the best way to describe this? It's a group of, I think, mostly women, freeing princesses in space by fighting in mech battles. So you've got pirates, you've got space, you've got romance, you've got people just getting to know each other and like accept their faults. You've got people dealing with their trauma. And again, mech suits. You're in space. So much fun. This is Cosmo Nights by Hannah Templer. Huge fan of their work. Love their book, Flung Out of Space, they did last year. Great color work. I was looking forward to this so much. You can also use this as a webcomic. She does have it on her website, so you can go ahead and jump into Cosmo Nights for free. I really recommend you do. But I also recommend you pick up this nice, thick, juicy graphic novel by Top Shelf. It's only like 25 bucks. If you were a fan of a lot of anime and mech anime in the 90s, you're gonna love Cosmo Nights. Don't even worry about it. And the finale to Brenna Thumler's series just came out, Lights. This is the finale to the best-selling Sheets series. It's all about this girl who befriends these groups of ghosts in her laundromat. Because ghosts in this world are literally just wearing these sheets. So she meets them and like launders their sheets. I really enjoyed all of the books of this series. And you never really know how you're going to feel until a book series finishes, right? Because the end can really shape how you feel about a series. And Brenna knocked it out of the park. Getting to see these 3 main characters, their whole plot line, their storyline really wrap up in such a meaningful way, where they all had true growth and understanding between one another, was so beautiful and so touching. And there's lighthearted moments, but there's also just a lot of really great friendship moments. I don't want to spoil any of it for you, so I won't dig into this. But you can watch a lot of great reviews on this series, and I definitely recommend you pick it up. All right, next up is one of the most surprising and exciting team-ups that could have ever happened. So if you've seen me before do these review videos or do my top 10 videos, you probably know that I'm a huge fan of the comic book writer and artist Tillie Walden. They did On a Sunbeam, they did Clementine, the graphic novelization of spin-off of the Walking Dead Telltale games, amongst many, many others. I'm a huge fan of Tillie. I sing her praises constantly. Well, she teamed up with the band Tegan and Sarah, which is this band that is made by these twin sisters. They're kind of queer icons. Kind of, they are. They wrote a book about their time in high school, and then they've now adapted that into this graphic novel, Junior High. It's all about kind of a retelling of their own story. It is their story, but they've also kind of modernized it for our time. This was the perfect team up, and I thought I was going to die. As a Tegan and Sarah fan and a Tillie Walden fan, I lost it when this came out. I think this is the first time that Tillie's done this all in pencil. Regardless, this is just about two twins doing their best and trying to make it through junior high the best they can. While, you know, they're in a new school, they're dealing with their identity, they're dealing with jealousy between the two of them. How do you handle being sisters and being together while also trying to deal with your being an individual and make new friends? And what does that mean? And, you know, there's a bunch of geeky references through there and a bunch of music references. And it's just a great time. I think anybody who felt awkward in middle school can relate, which I assume you're watching a comic book YouTube channel. If you didn't feel awkward in middle school, I'm really surprised you made it here. And good for you. But because I felt awkward in middle school, that's why I have a lot of these books. But again, that's Junior High by Tegan and Sarah and Tillie Walden. I did a lot of Chef's Kiss because they're all Chef's Kiss. They're all really good. Okay, so the last two of my list I don't have physically. One of them I checked it from the library, but I do intend to purchase my own copy of, and the other one I lent out. So we'll start with the manga, and that is Talk to My Back by Murasaki Yamada. So it was recently, I guess, translated and released and collected for the US in English. And it was originally published in like the early 80s. And so it centers around this woman's experience being a mother in Japan and what that's like. And it's a pretty thick manga. And it really it was her daily life, but it felt so emotional and so poignant because it centers around what it's like to be a mom in Japan, what that means, and how she felt like she lost her identity. Because once she became a mom, she was no longer called by her first name. She was not seen as an individual. She was seen as so-and-so's mom, and what that meant, and what that meant for her marriage, and just her individuality and who she was in the world. And so she felt like nobody was really talking to her. And it was just so moving and so interesting to see what that's like for someone, especially like in the 80s too. So not just like for Japanese women today, but for a Japanese woman in the early 80s, like during the big like Japan bubble, before a lot of like women had to then go to work, and before all that sort of, I won't say evened out, but anyways, reading her experiences was so interesting. I definitely recommend it as something that maybe you wouldn't normally pick up on your own. Because I would think that maybe you might see that cover. It's just a woman sitting by herself that's talk to my back. And maybe you wouldn't think to pick that up, even as a manga reader. But I urge you to absolutely pick this up for just a glimpse in someone else's life. Again, that's Talk to My Back by Murasaki Yamada. Now it's time for my favorite pick of the year. Woo! Now, I don't have this physically in front of me because I cannot stop lending it out to people. So unfortunately, can't remember who I lent it out to. So hopefully it finds its way back to me. I'll gladly buy another copy. That's fine. So this is It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth by Zoe Thorogood. No surprise, I called it at the beginning of the year when I read it, because I read it in January, and I knew it'd be my favorite. I said, this is my favorite book of the year. No question. Everyone's like, hey, it's like second week of January, cool it. You'll find other books. And I said, no, incorrect. this is the one. And I've been waiting for it ever since I saw the cover. This is like Zoe put together this book basically as she was really just going through it. She needed to make a new graphic novel. She made one that went really well, and she's trying to put something together. And so she made a whole book basically about her trying to come up with a graphic novel. And she's kind of in a mental health spiral. And it transitions through so many different art styles throughout. It reminded me a lot of my favorite anime films. It's a trip, and I've just never seen anyone put together their media like that. It just felt like such an interesting take. And I don't want to spoil it. I won't say much more for you because I really want you to read it and have that experience for yourself. But I talked to a lot of friends who basically echoed the same thing, where they said, in the future, people are going to be saying, or people are going to try to emulate Zoe Thorogood's It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. They're going to see that media, see how it's put together, see how the art was put together, see how the panels were arranged. And they're going to be talking about how they can emulate that for future books. And I think it deserves all the awards. I'm still so in love with it, and I would die to have an original page. Okay, not that extreme, but I would really like to have an original page.
This episode is brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code NEARMINTCONDITION at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
Those are my top 10. Ended with Zoe Thorogood's. What I can't wait to see everybody else's top 10 lists, and I'd love to hear your top 10 in the comments below for me to read and get some inspiration for the coming year. As always, hope you like this video. Subscribe to Near Mint Condition if you aren't already. If you aren't already, you found us, welcome. Check me out on Tuesdays live on Old Reader, New Reader, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you join the Patreon, you can vote for the pick of the month for me to discuss. And feel free to suggest guests and everything else. I'm always looking to meet new people. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Bye, everybody.